Hello, my name is Kenya, and you are now watching 40 Entrepreneur Drive. This is my channel where I talk about business and entrepreneurship and other juicy subjects. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to avoid work burnout, specifically burnout that is related to working overtime. So, for those of you who do not know, I work in a factory type environment, which will remain unnamed. And in that environment, there's a lot of overtime available and a lot of overtime mandatory. And while I have been off for the past 5, almost 6 weeks, I got to enjoy a lot of free time, a lot of rest time, a lot of downtime, a lot of fun time, a lot of quality time with my family. And I was just able to catch up on a lot of things and just really live my life. Well, you can't live life without a source of income or some type of resource. And so back to work we go. So for the people that may feel burnout quite often, either due to just their work environment or maybe the amount of overtime that they're working, I would like to provide a couple of suggestions. And I've got 7 of them actually that I'm going to go over. I got some digital notes here to the side I'm going to be looking at. I've got 7 tips to avoid work burnout. And just to skip to the chase, avoid overtime. But there's more to it. So I'd say skip out on overtime whenever possible, whenever it's financially possible, depending on your own personal and financial situation. But avoiding overtime is one of the easiest ways to avoid work burnout. I mean, the more that you work, the more that you're using your personal physical resources, and if you're not having enough time to replenish that, you are going to eventually have burnout. Now, some people burn out quicker than others. We're all made differently. We all have different chemistry. We all have different obligations and circumstances that drain us quicker. So we're being drained at work and we're being drained at home or being drained at whatever else that you're doing outside of work. So we all have different physical makeups and we all have different obligations and things that we're tied to outside of work. So that would be my, not number 1 tip, because I actually have a number 1 tip, but I'm going to talk about 7 tips to avoid work burnout. And for those of you who may wonder where I'm at, I am in my garage. I sell on eBay. This is my eBay stash. Half of my garage is my office, my eBay inventory. And while I was off of work, I pretty much just jumped in full time doing my eBay and doing my reselling, which is what I do as my side hustle. So that's what I'm doing. That's where I'm at. Just FYI. It is a little bit chilly, even though I'm indoors. It's still, this is not an insulated area. So that's why I have on a jacket. Sometimes I may have on a hat or a scarf if you see me out here. But that's where I'm at. I'm in my warehouse. Got my books, got my other totes and things behind me. But let me get back on topic. We're talking about avoiding work burnout. Now, me personally, just talking about myself, and I'm going to speak for other people who may feel this way. It is not, you are not a weak person if you burn out quicker than somebody else. Let me say that again. If you get tired quicker than somebody else on the job or working so many days a week, that does not make you weak. It makes you you. Everybody has different levels of endurance. Everybody has different levels of, what am I trying to say? Everybody's nutrition and vitamins are different. So people eat differently, people drink differently. And again, people's stress levels are different because of what they may or may or not have to do outside of work, so at home. So we all have different levels of what we can deal with at work. So if you feel like me, I'm sensitive to overtime. In my 20s, I could do it, no problem. I could work, come in early 4 hours, stay over 4 hours, do a double, whatever, and I would feel tired, but I would bounce back pretty quickly. But now that I'm in my 40s, it is not that easy. And even then, in my 20s, it wasn't really that healthy. I could just bounce back quicker, but it's not good for, human beings to work that often. We have to work to live. We have to work to make a living, but we don't have to work quite that much. But let me get to these topics. So I've got a couple of tabs opened on my laptop that I will be referring to as far as some of the effects of overtime, and some tips on saving money, and another piece of information that I'll hit at the end. So number one, we all know the saying that it says pay yourself, and it's usually talking about money. When you get paid, pay yourself. Save money, pay yourself before you pay your bills, because if you pay everyone else first, you're probably, if you put yourself last, you're not going to have very much left. You're going to be trying to, put together scraps and, cents and change instead of dollars. So pay yourself first, 10%, 15, 20, whatever you're financially able to do and comfortable to do. Well, I'm actually talking about time right now. I would like to say pay yourself first with time. Pay yourself first with getting good rest, which a lot of people do not do. I know I have trouble doing it because I work the third shift, so it's unnatural to sleep in the daytime and stay up all night. It's possible. I've been doing it for almost 20 years, but it's not really the best. So try your best to get good rest. Try to get a good, solid, whatever is good for your body. Some people 6, some people 7, some people 8. Some people 9 is the magic number. If I sleep straight for 9 hours, like on a weekend when I don't have to get up and I don't set my alarm, I find myself waking up between 8 and 9 hours. That is my body's way of telling me this is what you need to rejuvenate. And so I listen to my body whenever I can and get that amount of rest. So get amount of rest. Pay yourself first with time. Take that time for yourself. That's what I'm trying to say here. Take that time for yourself and pay yourself first, instead of always putting the job first. The job will be there, and if you're scheduled to work, but before you jump on all the overtime, just think to put yourself first and get enough rest, which I think we're all rested up. For people who have been off work for the last 5 to 6 weeks in my situation, from the employer, which always remains unnamed. Thank you for respecting that. We do not talk about names here. But for my employer that I've been off of work from, I've gotten all the rest that I need. And I'm still not ready to go back, but that's another video. Okay, I also want to say spend quality time with your loved ones whenever that's possible. So that's number one tip to avoid work burnout. Gotta have that balance. We need to work, we need to have an income, but we need those things in life that make life meaningful for us. Your spouse, your girlfriend or boyfriend, your significant other, your child or children, your parents, your siblings, your best friend, the people in whatever personal, professional, or extracurricular club that you're a part of. Those people bring meaning to your life. Those are the things that you look forward to. So make sure that you're spending enough time doing those things, which is something I'm guilty of doing. I don't participate. Me and my social anxiety and the introvertism, which is my personality, that sometimes I struggle with doing, being outgoing more and socializing more. But I've used the internet as a way to actually connect with people that I'm more like-minded with, and that I can discuss things and have fulfilling conversations and meet and do things like that. So spend quality time with your loved ones whenever available. That is number one. Number two, I would say also have a creative or physical outlet, which is related to number one. So actually getting out of the job and out of the house. Home is where the heart is. Home is where rest is. I love being at home. I'm a homebody, and I especially love my room, and especially love my bed. Oh, I love my bed. I love my bed so much. But it can be quite isolating to always stay in your bedroom, to always stay in your home, and to always stay, just cooped up in the house. When you work a lot, or if you work a job that's specifically tiring, it's really easy to default to just not wanting to go out. But the balance is the more that you're actually out in the sunshine, getting that vitamin D, that's good for you. The more that you're out with people, just in an environment where there's people, even if you don't interact with them, like sitting at the mall or sitting in the cafe and just people watching, that's actually good for you to have that otherness other than work. There's people at work, but a more observant, spectator type way instead of participatory. So have a creative physical outlet. So you can do something like join an adult sports league, take art classes, painting classes, join a book club, join swing out dance lessons, etc., things like that. Any time that you're anytime that you're making time for yourself to have fun, to have an outlet, to do something that you're expressing yourself and getting that outlet, one, that's fulfilling for you, and two, the more time you're making for things to enjoy your life, the less time there actually is for overtime. Okay, number three, recognize, and I am speaking, this message is somewhat for my coworkers, me and my coworkers, me, myself, and I and my coworkers, but it's really for anybody who is somewhat of a workaholic. And I know money and overtime and things like that is a really sensitive subject. Talking about money can be quite taboo. People don't feel comfortable talking about money in general. And when you're talking about money that they can be making, it's really taboo. So I'm trying to be as careful as I can with this. I don't want to offend anybody or insult anyone, and I definitely don't want anyone to feel like I am telling them how to live their life or how to make their money or how to care for themselves and their family. These are just suggestions that I'm putting out into the universe for people like me to learn from, and anybody else who might, just get some type of help from this, because work burnout is a thing, and I've seen it in my coworkers. I've seen it in myself. Me and my depression, me and my anxiety. I know how working too much affects me. It affects my health in a very poor way. It's not good for me. So I work as little overtime as possible. But I see it in my coworkers too. They may not respond to it the same way that I do, but just the looks on people's faces, the attitudes, the bad moods, the animosity that was growing and the tension that was growing in the environment, because so much work, people are tired. And when you're tired, sometimes those social niceties fall by the wayside. Those social courtesies fall by the wayside. It's just people are stressed and pulled taut. It's very hard to maintain civilized environment sometimes when people are just overworked. And so I'm seeing this on my coworkers' faces. They may not be expressing specifically, I'm tired, or I'm overworked, or I need a break. People may not be saying it, but you can see it in their demeanor, in their faces, in the way they behave, things like that. So this is the message for all who want to hear. And if it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. Or if you don't agree, you can let me know in the comment section why you don't agree and leave examples, please. I'm very much open to suggestions on how I can make this message better. Or like I said, if you disagree, let me know why you disagree. But I'm going to move on to number three, which is recognize overtime is not a badge of honor. I don't know how many times I've heard my coworkers say things like, oh, I work 12 hours, 5 days in a row, and I've been working 7 days in a row, and I've been working 21 days in a row, as if it's a badge of honor, as if it makes them that much greater of a person. Now, if you want that money, get that money. If you need that money, get that money. But the way that it's presented sometimes, it's almost as if this is what I'm doing. What are you doing? Oh, you're not working any overtime, So just recognize that when overtime is presented to you as an option and you have that freedom to say yes or no, you don't have to. It's okay. It's not a badge of honor. It's just a tool. So recognize that overtime is not a badge of honor. It's a tool that can be used to increase your wealth and savings, but it doesn't make you a better worker for doing it, and it doesn't make you less than a good worker for not doing it. So for the year 2019, I told myself as a goal and as a promise, I was going to work 40 hours or less. That's just what I wanted to do. I wanted to work 40 hours or less because I recognized in myself, even though the money's good when I'm working overtime, now that I've hit 40, 41, I think I recognize it at 39, 38 or 39. Once I work so many hours of overtime, it takes me about 2 or 3 days to actually bounce back from it. So yes, I'm getting enough sleep that night, or actually in the day from working the night shift. I get enough sleep after working overtime, but it's not enough. So it takes me a little bit longer to actually make up for that lost time that I'm working. And and it was affecting me physically, and it was affecting me mentally. It was just really making the depression come out more. And so I said I had to pull back, and I said, you know what, 40 hours or less. I need to learn how to live my life and maintain my budget on 40 hours or less. And so that has been my goal, and for the most part I've respected it. And so, yeah, turning down overtime does not make you weak. It does not make you bad. It does not make you not unproductive. It does not make you not be a team player. It's just overtime. It's overtime. This is your time. This is what you're required to do. This is over that time. This is overtime. If you've done what you're required to do, you're good. If you do less and you're excused from it, you're still good. So I just think that that badge of honor that we have to do it, or that you're you're not being an adult if you don't do overtime, or you're not being responsible if you don't do overtime, I think that is a stigma that needs to be laid to rest. Overtime is just overtime. It should be an option. That's my feeling on it. Anyways, I don't believe in mandatory overtime, but I'm not a business manager. It's not my business. Excuse me. It's not my business. It's not my company. So I just need to abide by the rules. But I still have an opinion, and that's my opinion. I don't like overtime. And if you want to avoid burnout, avoiding overtime whenever possible is probably a good way to do it. Number 4, ask yourself, do you actually need it? Right now, after being off of work for about 5 weeks, so almost 6 weeks, we need it. We need it. It is what it is. Being in the red, the company is in the red, the employees are in the red. We're both, you know, needing to make up for lost profit, lost income, lost money. And so, yes, right now, the overtime is needed. Again, not to get into anybody's pockets. Everyone is different. Talking about money is taboo. I realize that. But if you need it, get it. If you don't need it, maybe not get it. But I think at least to the end of the year, most people are probably going to want to take advantage of as much overtime as possible. One, to make up for these past several weeks, getting behind on bills and mortgages and insurance and whatever other, I know what I'm trying to say, it's just not coming out right. What other financial obligations that you may have. So people are trying to get out of the red. Once you get out of the red, now the holidays are coming up. For people who choose to celebrate the holidays and choose to buy gifts and spend their money in that way, they're going to want to do that. And then, of course, people are going to want to do overtime just to refill their emergency funds and whatever else they want to do. So ask yourself, when it comes to working overtime, do you need it? Some people take it because it's just there. You know, you ask me, hey, you want some of whatever. I'm a foodie. I like eating. I'm a big girl. I like eating. You ask me, hey, you want some? I'm probably gonna say yeah. Let me try that. Let me taste that. I don't need it. I'm not hungry, but if you put it in front of me, I want it, right? And so some people are like that with overtime. They're offered it and they take it. They don't even think about it. Again, I'm not judging. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying maybe to avoid any burnout that you may be feeling, ask yourself, do I need this overtime? Me, because of my living standards that I have changed, when not having certain luxuries, I don't need overtime. My kids are pretty self-sufficient. They don't ask me for a lot. And so, again, I don't need a lot of overtime. Ask yourself, do you need it? There are people who do need it. And many people do need the money right now to get their budgets back on track. But once you have enough, always remember, like I said, was tip number 1, put yourself first, not your pockets first, not your bank account first. I mean, within reason, put your health first, put yourself and your health first, and making sure that you're not burning yourself out or burning the candle at both ends. Number 5, don't be seduced by the money. Weigh the pros and the cons. Again, I'm 41 now. 10 years ago, I could do overtime with no problem. Sometimes I even didn't sleep over the weekends. Like, I'd stay up on a Friday morning or whatever, and I didn't go back to sleep until that Friday night, or not Friday night because I've always worked night shift, but I would I would go to work on a Friday night, wake up on a Saturday morning, stay up Saturday morning, stay up Sunday morning, stay up Monday, go into work, and then I just eventually crash at some point. But I can't do that kind of stuff anymore. I would work so much overtime and enjoy that money, but I was really doing a disservice to my body. And now that I really can't do that without suffering migraines and headaches and just uh I'm not here for my family as much as I can be. I'm here physically, but I'm in the bed, laid out, trying to recover. And so that's why I say weigh the pros and the cons. Can you physically do it? You can force yourself to do it. You can push yourself to do it. I think we all push ourselves as responsible adults to provide for ourselves and our families, but make sure that you weigh the pros and the cons, especially when it comes to your health. Also, look at the bigger picture, your recovery time and your rest, and things that you may be missing out on outside of work. Again, with me and my family, me being a single mom, I've missed out on a lot of things with my kids, and I still miss out on things as far as things that are going on with school, extracurricular activities, sports, things that happen that I can kind of make myself be there, but uh, I'm either going to sacrifice the sleep and the rest, or I'm going to sacrifice spending that time with my child and making sure they get to certain events and that they're able to participate in life. And if I have to work, my set schedule is one thing, but that's that overtime and that extra time that takes from time. You know what I'm saying? That overtime that takes from time, that's what I have to weigh in my situation. And that's why in the year 2019, my goal has been to work 40 hours or less because I want to make just enough money to live and have a lot more time to live. Have enough money to live, but have enough time to live. But everyone is different. Make sure you're weighing these pros and cons for your lifestyle, your livelihood, your obligations and duties, and just weigh the pros and the cons. Number 6, keep your health in check. Now we're talking about just burnout, not specifically overtime. I speak heavily on overtime because I feel so passionately about it, but we're just talking about how to avoid work burnout. So keep your health in check. Drink water as much as you can. I love water. I love water. I like pop too. I like pop and smoothies and other things like that. But I love my water. I try to stay hydrated as much as possible. Drink water and avoid energy drinks as much as possible. That was a big deal for me back in my 20s and 30s when I was working so much overtime. I was not quite abusing energy drinks, but I drank more than I needed to. And even though they help at that moment, who knows what the long-term damage to your body is. You're doing what you got to do at that moment to stay awake or to stay alert, but over time you're going to end up paying for it either with heart issues or blood pressure issues or who knows, because really I don't know if there's any long-term study over energy drinks on the human body because they're fairly new, like what, the last 10-15 years, and every year it seems like there's a new one that comes out. So I say, please, be kind to yourself, take care of your health, and avoid energy drinks whenever possible. Try to keep healthy snacks on you to avoid eating junk food. This is a big thing for me. Big thing for me. I'm always either eating on the way to work, grabbing something at work, or eating on the way home from work. And most convenience foods and fast foods are detrimental to our health because of the salt and sodium. It's not good for our blood pressure. Think about this. You're under stress and pressure from working the job. You're stressing yourself out from working a lot and sleeping less. And now you got this extra sodium in your body, which is putting more pressure on your heart. I'm 41. I feel young, but all that is going to build up and build up, and you don't know it's too late until it's too late when that stroke or that heart attack hits. And God willing, we all stay as healthy for as long as possible. But these are the types of things that we need to do to make sure we are staying healthy. So keep healthy snacks on you to avoid eating junk food, which can cause you to feel worse later. Eating snacks and sweets from the vending machine or from the kiosk, or even from people who may sell food at work, or vendors or food trucks, things like that. Sometimes it's good food and wholesome. Sometimes it's a quick fix because we're hungry and we're just, trying to stay alert and stay from being miserable at work, being hungry and thirsty. Tip number 7 would be, and this is the big one here, this is pretty much it, to avoid work burnout, which for me I associate a lot with working overtime. Work on your financial issues that may be keeping you dependent on overtime. Wanting overtime is one thing, needing overtime is another thing. If you need overtime, and this particular time period right now, October 25th, 2019, in lieu of everything that's been happening this past several weeks, this aside, if you need overtime, and there's two messages here. There's messages for my coworkers that I'm talking to, and there's a message for anyone else who's watching. If you need overtime, you may need to reevaluate your budget and your living standards and your quality of living, not quality of living, but your living standards and the types of things that you need versus the things you want. So again, money and spending is a touchy subject. I'm not telling anybody how to spend their money. I don't want anybody telling me how to spend my money. I'm saying that a lot of times working too much definitely comes from needing to make that money, and depending on your particular situation, if you need the overtime, you may consider getting financial counseling, cutting out on things like cable, Netflix, and other subscriptions that do seem cheap at the time, but over time they're slowly chipping away at your savings. Me personally, I don't like TV. A lot of my coworkers I've told, and they don't understand why they don't get it. But I don't like TV. I don't watch TV. So since I don't watch TV, I don't have a TV. Since I don't have a TV, I don't have cable. Since I don't have a TV, I don't do Netflix. I do have a smartphone that works on Wi-Fi. There's no bill attached to this phone. This is my what I do with it? I got a flip phone around here somewhere. Here we go. This is my phone. This is my actual phone. $10 a month. That's all I need. Unlimited talk, unlimited text, and well, it's old school, so it's really hard to text on here. So I just use the phone function anyways. $10 a month. This is not a bill. This only works on Wi-Fi. The phone is paid off. It works. I'm not trying to upgrade. I don't need all that extra stuff. I need what I need. This is the fun stuff when I'm around Wi-Fi. When I'm not around Wi-Fi, it's a paperweight. But consider cutting out things like subscriptions and things that are fun and entertainment, but maybe chipping away at your savings. Along with that, you may want to reduce eating out, which again is a big thing for me. Try to reduce eating out, ordering food at work. Consider brown bagging it to work and cook at home more, which I never do. Partly because I'm always busy here in my warehouse. I'm usually working on my eBay stuff, my online store, my YouTube channel. There's so many extra things that I am doing outside of work, which is my personal outlet. This is my creative outlet, and my creative outlet is my business and my YouTube channel. So I don't cook as much as I should cook, but I need to if I want to make sure that I'm not overspending, undersaving, and needing overtime. So reducing eating out, ordering food at work, consider brown bagging it, and cooking at home more. The holidays are upon us. Avoid the peer pressure of overspending at Christmas. Some of us celebrate, some of us do not. For those of us who do celebrate Christmas, especially those of us with little children, we sometimes feel the need to outdo ourselves, or to spoil our children, or just to go all out. It's like that one time a year that we can, that I'm using quotations. It's that one time a year that we can show our loved ones how we feel about them by, showering them with gifts. I won't go off into that. That's probably a whole other video. But remember, you don't have to outdo yourself every year. If the kids don't get what they ask for, they will still love you. They'll survive. They will survive, and they will still love you. Little ones, my sister just had a baby, her first baby, and she's you know how new parents are. You know how I remember how I was. And so she wants everything just right, just perfect for her firstborn son. But we got to remember, little kids and babies, they don't remember any of that stuff. They really don't. They might, unless you have a picture and you show them the picture, years later, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember that thing that I got. Yeah. Little kids don't even remember this stuff. So it's really something that we do to help us feel better as parents or spouses or significant others or whatever, because we're trying to make up for lost time. I feel like that's my personal opinion. Again, if you disagree, please let me know why you disagree and put it in the comment section below. Let's see. Oh yeah, what did I write? I'm reading from my notes here. If the kids don't get the things they ask for, they'll still love you. Little ones don't remember Christmas and things like that anyways. We just feel like good parents when we spoil them with gifts, especially when we miss out on time with them. That goes back to that time again. I've missed out on so much time for my kids working overtime and just working in general that I've definitely tried to substitute that lost time with gifts. I've substituted being kind of a laid back and relaxed parenting skills that I've used because I maybe didn't want to say no, or I didn't want to discipline them as harshly because I felt guilty. That's a whole nother video too. But there's a lot of things that I could have done differently because I was making up for lost time. Okay, use money saving apps and bill tracking apps like, and here's where I look at this tip here. We got Mint, we got Digit, we got SmartyPig, Qapital with a Q, Qapital, Tip Yourself, Stash, Acorns, Robinhood, and Max My Interest. I have used 3 of those apps. I've used Mint to track my my savings and checkings and my bills that have come in. I really feel comfortable with that app. I like it. That is a free app. I've used Acorns, which is a savings app. I think whenever you whatever change you don't use, like when you use purchases, it rounds it up and use that change to squirrel it away for you to help you save. Hence Acorns, squirrels and trees and acorns. Anyways, and then I've used Robinhood, which is an investment app. So try using those type of apps to help you monitor your spending and your savings. What else do I have here? Educate yourself on finances. I think that's my last part. Before I get to this last part, I'm actually going to read a quick blurb on here from Wikipedia. I was going to read something from a site called impactbnd.com, and it said working overtime is not a badge of honor, avoid the burnout. But I kind of didn't like the direction they were going in there, and I didn't want that I didn't want that type of message, but you can read that as well. I will put the link to that in the description box. But working overtime is not a badge of honor. If you have to work it, you have to work it. If you don't, I say avoid it. Me personally, avoid it and live life. Life is meant to be lived, not to just work. We work so that we can make a living. We're not living just to work. Okay, onto this Wikipedia article here. The effects of overtime. Employees who work overtime hours experience numerous mental, physical, and social effects. Significant effects include stress, lack of free time, poor work-life balance, and health risks. Employee performance levels could also be lowered. So long work hours could lead to tiredness, fatigue, and lack of attentiveness. As a result, suggestions have been proposed for risk mitigation. We got a couple of headlines here that I won't go through the paragraphs, but I'll just hit the bold headings here. So there's health and safety, there's mental effects, there's physical effects, there are social effects, mortality risks. Wow. And then there's counter arguments that says there is no direct cause and effect relationship between work hours and working short and long-term risks. I don't know about that. I totally disagree with that. But yeah, there is a Wikipedia article. It's called The Effects of Overtime. I will also put that link in the description below so you can take time to read that on yourself. And then I'm just going to finish up with my last tip that I got here on my sticky notes. Okay, so my last point for people who feel like they need the overtime. Now, if you're not making a lot of money, I'm not talking to you. If you're not making a lot of money in your job and you need that overtime just to break even, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people who make enough, but they want a little bit more. If you want more, that's your personal preference. But if you are spending as much as you are making, I'm sorry, I got like a piece of a I was chewing on my lip for a second, and then it made some loose skin, and then I didn't want it sitting there hanging, dangling in front of you there, so I was like, let me get this off my lip. If you need the overtime, or if you don't need the overtime, this is a good tip for anyone. My final tip is educate yourself on finances. Now you can do this with free podcasts. I love podcasts. I listen to podcasts all the time on my phone. I use Stitcher, which is that app right there. Let's see if I can show you. That app right there is Stitcher. That's free. Um, you can also download financial stuff on Audible. I've got Audible on my phone as well. There are finance books that you can get on Kindle. That's my Kindle app there. Let's see, what else do I have here? Free podcasts, library books, which are free. YouTube. You're watching me on YouTube right now. I don't watch TV. But I am on YouTube almost exclusively. I've got a lot of channels that I'm subscribed to that I love learning from. And what I like about YouTube is you can use it for entertainment, but I like it to use it as a learning tool. I like learning languages. I like learning about finances. I like learning about business because I do want my own business. I do want to work for myself. And that's part of the name of this channel, 40 Entrepreneur Drive. I want to be my own entrepreneur. And there's just a lot of things that you can learn on YouTube, especially about saving money, investing money. There are also self-help kits, such as Dave Ramsey. Many people have heard of him. He is a great financial guru. He talks about getting out of debt. He talks about saving money, not necessarily making money. That's part of it. We don't have to make the money. It has to come from somewhere. But once you make the money, what are you doing with it? He talks about saving your money, getting out of debt, paying off bills, and then building wealth. Building wealth and then getting to the point where you can actually start participating in philanthropy, which is I've got so much that my cup overfloweth. Now I can bless someone else. Now I can give money here. Now I can give money there. I'm not at that point yet, but I'm learning how to stay out of debt. I don't have very much debt anymore, but living check to check is almost as bad as being in debt because when a bad spot hits you, like right now, I've been off of work 5 to 6 weeks because I've been on strike from my employer, which will remain unnamed. It was in a bad spot. If I didn't have my eBay stuff set up, if I didn't already have something extra coming in, I'd be in a bad spot. There are people in the world that are 1 or 2 checks away from homelessness. So that is a very scary situation to be in. But anyways, this is what I would recommend. Not specifically, well, actually specifically Dave Ramsey. I would recommend him. I'm not being paid to say this. I actually, have this. I bought this out of my own money. I've got the CDs around here somewhere. I'm pretty sure, because this is an older kit, but I'm pretty sure they have newer kits now where it's all digital and stuff. But this, I put it back together. I thought it was on here. So this is my kit here. It comes with the CDs. It comes with the CD-ROM, which I don't think anybody uses CD-ROM anymore, right? It's got another CD-ROM. It's got the workbook and some other stuff in here. I learned about this when I was going to a church in Grapevine called Fellowship of the Parks. And one of the church groups there actually had Financial Peace University as part of the meeting group. And we paid like a discount price to participate because the church bought the thing and then they were able to distribute the literature some kind of way. But in either case, you can actually buy this on Amazon. I will leave a link to that as well for people who may not know where to look for it. I've got a link that I can leave you guys to check that out. So those are my 7 tips. I did a live stream earlier today that was like a 30 or 40 minute vent about me going back to work. You gotta work. John Smith said, you don't work, you don't eat. So yeah, I think they actually said that in the Bible too. But you don't work, you don't eat. So we have to work. It is a part of responsible adulthood to work, to bring in income, to take care of yourself and your family. So that can't be avoided unless you are you were born into wealth, or you have some type of situation where you have multiple income streams set up, which is part of my bigger picture. Stay tuned to the channel, subscribe so you can follow me on that path. But until you get to that point where you have multiple income streams and you can have passive income, most of us have to work. But I would say take care of yourself. Your health is your wealth. No matter how much money can be made, if you're not well enough to make the money, or if you're not well enough to enjoy the money once it's made, it's all for naught. It's all for naught. All for naught. So your health is your wealth. Those are my 7 tips to avoid. Those are my 7 tips to avoid work burnout. For those of you, if you know that you're a workaholic, which is a real thing, and you don't even need the money, you just like working, I'd say seek out therapy. Seek out someone that you trust, that you can talk to, whether it is a therapist, whether it is a spiritual guide, whether it is a life coach, whether it is a personal friend or family member that you trust. If you feel like you're just addicted to work, yeah, you may be productive and you may be doing great things for your company, but it's gonna come and bite you. It's not gonna be good for you, and it won't be good for your loved ones, because they want you. They want you in their lives as much as you want that work in your life. So it's all a balance. Avoid burnout. Specifically in my situation, avoid overtime when you can. That's my personal piece on it. If you have ways that you can avoid burnout from work, let me know in the comment section below. What do you do to avoid burnout? Do you just crash and rest at home when you get home and veg out on TV, and that's all you need? You just need that downtime to decompress? Do you need a significant amount of time with your loved ones to recharge? Do you need to be around your friends and go out and actually do things to recharge? And as long as you can recharge, you feel good, enough to work. What is your personal preference? What do you do to avoiding what do you do to avoid work burnout? Let me know in the comment section below. If you're new here, consider subscribing so that you can follow me on my personal business journey and my entrepreneurship, as I'm learning the ropes on how to make multiple income streams and work for myself, and also other stuff that I talk about, like mental health, depression, anxiety, things like that. I'm so very happy that you stayed to the end to listen to my message and listen to the video tips. If you enjoyed it, I want you to do 2 things for me. Actually, you can do 3. You can do 2 things for me. If you did find this video helpful, share it with at least one other person that could benefit from it, find it interesting, or maybe they have a strong opinion about it one way or the other, and they can also have a dialogue with me and let me know how they feel about it. 2, press the thumbs up button, press the like button. If you really do enjoy the video, if you found at least one thing helpful, press the thumbs up button. And then the 3rd thing, if you do want to stick around, hit the red subscribe button. That way you'll get notifications when I'm putting out a new video. Also, hit the bell button to get the notification. Subscribe just means you're subscribed to me. It means you're going to be getting stuff whenever, I guess. But the actual notification bells will let you know through push notifications on your smartphone, or sometimes email, I think, however you set it up, that Kenya has dropped a new video. Back to work, back to work, back to work. Back to the grind. Ooh. Ooh. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.